Right, so what I'm doing today is I'm going to sort the suspension out. I found out from the previous owner, because this had got quite a wallowy suspension setup, and also I'm getting a little bit of, I think it's prop shaft, a bit of noise from the prop shaft every now and again when I'm slowly accelerated. I found out that it's got quite a light duty suspension on, because the previous owner used this as a delivery van for flowers, so obviously there's no weight there. It lightened up the ride for his staff and you know, made it a good vehicle. However, with the camper conversion and all my overland gear, I'm now rocking about 3 tonne. So as you can imagine, it's sagged quite a bit. So to start off with, what I'm going to do is just take some basic measurements. We're just going to quickly write down what we've got on each corner, and then at the end of it we can see how much we've actually gained out of it. So 34 inches, which I think this sits low. 34 on this corner, 33 on that one, so it's an inch lower on that side, which will make sense with the kitchen being on that side and the water tank. And they both love gardening and walking with their dog Flo. Play something nice for them. 36.5 on the back, 34.5 on the other side. So, you know, this side is, at the back, 2 inches higher on the driver's side, and at the front, 1 inch higher. So, yeah, we're going to have to put some heavier duty suspension on, definitely. So what I've done is I've got springs, shocks, new turrets and new turret rings. Reason for that is, for the price of the turrets, it makes it easier if you can just blast the old ones off. The turret rings, I've never managed to take one off intact, so for the extra little bit of cost, I think it's an extra 30-40 quid, the amount of time and effort and stress you'll save yourself, well worth doing. Right, so this is the kit I'm going to be using. Today. It's the Terra Firma kit. Probably the best kit you could get for this would be the Old Man Emu, but you've seen Old Man Emu prices, and my budget won't stretch to that. So Terra Firma it is. It's tried, it's tested, and it works. I've had it on 4 of my vehicles now, this kit, and it's performed every single time. So what we're going to do as well, we're going to fit some dislocation cones. I don't think I'll need these. I don't think I'll get to the point where they'll ever come in, but they're there. It's on my hoard of things that I've got in my workshop, so they're going to get fitted. So let's get this thing jacked up, get the back wheels off, and we'll start with the back end, because that's the easy bit. Right, so let's get this jacked up. I've already jacked it up about 1 inch, but you'll see how much the suspension sat down before the wheel lifts. Right, the wheel's just lifted down. Right, there we go. That's some articulation, isn't it? I've just got an axle stand underneath there, so we've got the trolley jack and the axle stand. Right, so wheel off. These are the new springs, as you can see, considerably thicker and very shiny and posh. It's all about shiny and posh, and there's 5 horsepower just in that silver paint. Right, so we've loosened the top nut off there. The bottom nut you can do with a spanner or 2 spanners and grip it round, but realistically these are coming off and they're getting scrapped anyway, because they're not a part that's worth keeping around really, for the price of what a brand new standard shocker is. Right. There we go. That's sealed now. All it takes is one grip and years of not wanting to come off. So as you can see, this vehicle fairly recently has been polybushed, so I'll probably put these polybushes back on. The advantages of polybush is they're a lot harder wearing. The downside of it is, with the rubber, it does take a little bit of the impact, so it takes a little bit of the stress out of what the shock absorber and the rest of the vehicle's taking. So it's something that's very personal to some people, that they'll argue both ways, if you know what I mean. There's pros and cons for either. Ah, this is tight. For those of you, I'm also on Instagram. You probably saw yesterday demolishing my old cabin where I lived for 9 years with the Land Rover. Put a couple of little clips on there. Not really worthy of making a video on, and I had to concentrate, but all my little snippets go on either the Bug Out Vehicles UK Facebook page or on my Torn Apart Self-Sufficiency Instagram page. Right, so there we go. Again, we've got axle stand, spare wheel and trolley jack under here because this is a lot of weight that I don't want on my nuts. And I don't mean these ones. It's actually a very good condition shocker, so I might just put it to the spare side. Probably mechanics screaming at the screen now. I'm no mechanic, by the way. I'm just showing you how I do things. I'm self-taught. Wow, it's a warm one today. That was a pain in the arse. I don't know if you can see. I've never, in all the lift kits and suspension kits I've fitted, had to take the bottom plate off, but the spring had actually corroded itself to it, so I've had to take the whole lot off and out. Also, as well as that, I've not articulated this one as well. So even though I've dropped it all the way down, it's not got the flex to push the axle to just drop it out. So I've had to use spring, the kind of nipper things. So yeah, made it very difficult. Right, so here's the new spring. And you see a lot tougher, a lot thicker. I've just put the dislocation cone in the top now with the screw, the nut. My head's a shed. I'm surprised I'm even under here. Full of cold, and I've had a lot of hours this week. So yeah, we've put the plate on top, that can just rest there. This will go on, under, we'll get this cup on. There'll be a lot of swearing, so I'm going to cut it out and I'll bring you back when I've got this just wedged in place. Finally. It's warm. We'll just roughly get this in place for now. I'll just sit up there, we'll release the pressure off it, nip it all up. I'm just going to get this bush off that doesn't want to play, so we'll get that out of the road. And then this corner's pretty much done, and what a wall bag it's been. Alright, new spring on, so let's nip it all up. Goes on a lot easier than what it came off.
getting warm now, Rich.
It is, isn't it? Gone from snow last week to heat wave. Messed up weather. So 2 spanners and nip that up. Yeah, so here we're smashing about. This little sleeve's managed to fuse itself on, so I've had to grind all up here and chisel out. So basically I'm trying to get this off. There we go. Bad cameras 101. So yeah, that's what's caused me all this grief. So I can crack on now. Right, I'll get all this nipped up now. Right, looks noticeably higher, but you never know, do you? Right, so there we go. Got the rear suspension done now. It's all on. Overall, it's lifted the rear end by 2 inches. There's still a little bit of a list to one side where the units are on that side. However, I am thinking of correcting it by taking the water tank out of that side, moving it across to the other side. So I've still got the front suspension to fit. However, with that sleeve on both sides causing me quite a lot of aggravation and a couple of other little niggles, I've run out of time now. So what I'm going to have to do is pick this up probably a couple of evenings this week. So what I'll do is I'll put all the front suspension parts here. So we'll get them fitted in the evening and we'll see where we get from there. But the upside is I get to see if that's made any difference on the ride home. You know, see if there's as much sway side to side to see if I need a big anti-roll bar even. So I don't want to go too big because, like with this one, I was going to get a massively heavy duty suspension to stop the wobbling about at a standard height, but then that gets rid of all my articulation off-road, which, as you've seen from my older videos, I do off-road and it does flex very well, this thing. So what I've done is I've got a medium duty terra firma, which is quite heavy duty anyway, and got a 2-inch kit which has brought it to a normal height. So yes, there is more spring there, it will articulate, but it's still a bit of strength, if you know what I mean. It's a kind of compromise every which way. You know, I could have it stiff as a board, which is better on road, but then as soon as I get off road, it'll just lift the wheel and I'll spin all my power out the open wheel. I haven't got the money for lockers yet, so this is the best option for me. Right, let's get something done. I hate doing this. Here's one for you. Struggled like hell with the other side, getting the turret ring to match up with the turret. I always buy new turrets and new turret rings. Usually, I've got more extreme off-road Land Rovers than this, so I go for the tubular turrets. But with this one being fairly stock standard, I've gone for just a Bogo standard one. It's an all makes one, all makes turret ring as well. And the annoying thing is, I've struggled like hell for one reason. That's because all makes can't make the two parts that are made to go together, well, don't line up. This isn't me just being special and I've pushed it in on an angle or anything like that. Every which way you do it, it doesn't match up. I mean, I know these are handed, but it just doesn't do it. So, and they have quality parts on all their logos and things. To me, two parts that go together, you'd expect them to go together to call something a quality part. I mean, it's about 4 mil off on that one. That's about 2 mil off. Those two fit fine. I even tried it with the standard one that came off the turret ring. Still didn't fit without a bit of persuasion. Excuse me. So, just a bit piss poor that, I think. It's one of the first jobs. I'm going to grease me nuts. A lot of people probably do this different to me, but what I like to do is take the 4 turret ring nuts off, undo the shocker from underneath and lift the whole lot through the top of the wing. That way it gives you just the spring just to pull straight out. Put your new spring in, drop all the new gubbins down and then bolt the turret ring on. I'm sure there is easier ways, but that's always worked for me. Right, so same thing again. There's a little clamp that the brake line sits in. So I've prised that open with the screwdriver. All kinds behind there. So the other bit now is, because these have got quite a big lip on them, it's just sat under the inner wing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very gently persuade that out of the way. So that'll go in, twist up, which will let me just take the whole lot out. I don't know if you can see it because it's quite dark in there, but this is all loose now. So once that's freed from that, it can all go up through the inner wing and then the spring can just come out. Right, so that's the turret ring all the way undone now. So I've just had to move my water bottle. Water. Go in one. So seems fairly straightforward to me as far as Land Rover maintenance goes, I think. And it's just a case of getting this out. Delicate stuff. So we'll get the new one, reverse order, straight back in. Right, so that's the new spring in. Came out exactly how I got the other one out. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it because I've seen someone take the end of the finger off doing this, but it's all about a bit of common sense and don't put your finger somewhere where a spring's going to twang in it. Just a case of what I do personally, I wouldn't recommend it again, is I stand on the hub, which forces the whole axle down while the body is kept in place.
I've positioned everything ready, so by the time I force down with my foot and push down with a bit of pressure on the top of the spring, it does tend to go in. Again, wouldn't recommend it, it's just how I do it. So here we go. The springs are the same height, but they're a tougher spring, and the main reason I'm doing this obviously is because I've got so much weight in. I'm trying to get rid of the roll. Look at that. I would have liked Old Man Emu, but realistically, any that's into all this stuff will know how much Old Man Emu is and how much Terra Firma is. And I've had umpteen Terra Firma kits, and not one of them's been a bad one yet. So we will save that end, and we will save that end. Lovely jubbly. Oh, I like that fit. Turret. We just put the square peg in the round hole. There we go. This would be just zip 4 bolts up there, one on the top and one at the bottom, but like I said before, all makes can't make parts that fit, so I'm going to swear at this a bit and leave her on it until it all goes together. Right, so just tightening the nuts on the top of the shock up, ensuring it's not spinning with the other hand. Then what I'll do is, because I can't quite fit the bushes and everything underneath, I'll put the wheel back on, drop it down so the weight of the vehicle compresses it slightly, and then I'll be able to get the nut on. Yeah, don't want to over tighten that, so perfect. They're all nice and tight, that's all in good order, so let's get this wheel on. Never from a tractor. And what we'll do once we've done that bolt on the bottom, I'll replace the cup that goes over the inner wing and just refit the water bottle. So give me a second while I play with my nuts and I'll bring you back for that. Right, so I had a quick walk around now, and basically it was 34 inches between the wheel arch and the floor before, now 35. The other side, that's getting 1.5 inches on that side. The rear on that side where the kitchen is, 1.5 inches again. And 2 inches on this back corner. So, bit of issues with weight distribution obviously, as you can see, but it's a motorhome. You know what I mean? It's going to go that way. So what I think I'm going to do is the water tank that's on the same side as the kitchen, I'm going to have one made to go under the bed on this back corner. That should, in theory, level it all up once full. So we'll see how we go, and we'll crack on with the next project. I'm going to put the LED lights off the back of it, and I've got a small awning because the tough track awning that I've got, it can only be used on perfect conditions. So I need something when there's a bit of a breeze, or you know, it's a little bit more subtle. So it's just to go over the back door, a narrow one. So we're going to get that one on now. Okay.